What's up, guys? So I know I called this video why a lot of rappers don't make it, but really I think it applies to a lot of other people in the industry, whether you're a singer, whether you're a producer, whether you're an artist, whatever you do. I think that these are some of the things that I've learned along my way in my career path that I feel I'm just going to share back to people who are at a certain point in their career and they want to know what to do to get to that next level or to grow their fan bases. So kind of me speaking my mind and just letting you guys in on some things that I feel are important. So really it's three main things I'm gonna need you guys to keep in mind. They are work hard, be original, and show love. Rule number 0, the single most reason why most people don't make it in the industry is because it's simply not their first priority. This can't be your backup plan. With that said, you have to differentiate whether this is your hobby or your career choice. If this is your hobby, then that's okay. But if this is your career choice, this is what you want your lifestyle to be, then you have to put your efforts into it. Which takes us to step number 1. One of the biggest problems people run into is they just simply don't work hard enough. And by working hard, I mean applying yourself in the right places when you're working. For example, if I'm downtown passing out my new CD to people who don't know who I am, are probably concerned with their own lives and don't really care if I don't make a good enough impression, then looking like the guy on the street corner, like, hey bro, check out my shit, you know, and people gonna be like, oh yeah, check it out, you know, and then next thing you know, it's in the trash. That's wasted money. There are other avenues for me to take in order to get my music out to people that make a better impression of me as an artist. When you walk downtown or wherever you are and you see these flyers and these CDs on the ground and you look at these artists, half of the time, I'm not saying all the time, half of the time, they are whack. They are really whack and they are whack as shit. Now I'm not here to hurt feelings, I'm here to help you guys. So, how do I put this? Let's say I'm going through my email, right? As a producer, I get a lot of emails from artists, you know, telling me to check out their music. And, you know, first thing I do is I ask them, hey, you got a page, man? And, you know, if they do, you know, I go check it out. I'll go listen to your songs. You know, if you're good, I'll show some love, you know? And if you're not, you know, I'll let you know. I'll be honest with you, you know, like maybe there's some things you got to work on. I'll check out and see, you know, like what kind of presentation are you giving off? Do you have links to your content? You know, is your stuff organized? Do you have HD pictures, or are you using, you know, bathroom selfies like, hey, new song, yo, check me out, hottest thing ever, share, like, comment, all that stuff, you know, like, are you professional or not, you know? I think a lot of people just kind of brush over that, and I think that's really, really important because this age is so image oriented, you know? People, the first thing people do, you know, they give you about 15 seconds when they look at your page to decide whether or not they mess with you or they don't fuck with your shit. And within that 15 seconds, you need to get them. Because when people contact you, when they do like your music, they'll know exactly where to go and how to find you. That little bit of extra time that you take with your appearance goes such a long way. Which kind of brings us to number 2. So, be original, be creative. I personally feel, as an artist, who I am speaks through my art. When you hear me, you know me, but be you. You know how sometimes you can go to an artist's page and you click on the first song and you can tell exactly who they were listening to before they made the song. Most often, we run into the wannabe Drake dude, the wannabe Wayne dude, and then the I don't know what I want to be, but I want to be some shit dude. The best way to deal with this is to take yourself out of yourself. See yourself from a third person perspective. What do people see when they see you? Brother Ali, one of my biggest influences from my hometown, Minneapolis, Minnesota, he said it best to me one day. Forget when this was, maybe last year or something like that, but I'll never forget it. He said that a lot of people are echoes of other voices, meaning that we all have our own voice, but we don't always speak with it. Sometimes we echo off of the things we hear and the people that we're influenced by. But really, to grow as an artist, you have to get in touch with what it is that is coming uniquely from your soul, from your heart, from your mind, your body, your spirit, and present that, you know, because that's the rawest, that's what people are gonna feel. With that said, make songs. I know it's a lot easier to hop on a beat and just freestyle the whole way, you know. People remember hooks. Hooks stick in people's heads. If you're trying to build a fan base, you want people to remember your song. So go take the extra time to make your original music, make full songs. Another thing to keep in mind is the content of your verses. When you break down your line, you know, line for line, what are you saying? Another problem I come across as a producer, since I record a lot of artists, is I noticed that a lot of artists record songs for themselves. But when you're trying to market to an audience, you have to consider what they want from you, along with what you want to do yourself. It might be fun to sit up in the studio with your homeboys, bounce around and scream ad-libs for a minute and a half, but when I'm listening to your song, I don't want to sit there and listen to ad-libs for a minute and a half. Something real important I think you guys should also keep in mind is most people are only thinking of themselves. And I know that sounds obvious, but it's true when you think about it. A lot of times I'll get emails and it'll be an artist, you know, asking for beats, but the approach will be, what can I do for you, rather than what can you do for me? Not saying that you have to do anything for me, but I'm saying when you approach somebody, you shouldn't be asking them for a favor. There's a difference between asking somebody for a favor and asking them for an honest opinion or some advice, because an honest opinion or some advice implies that you value that other person. So it goes from being just a numbers game where you're trying to get your numbers up to creating a personal relationship with somebody that you want to discuss music with. For example, I was on Facebook one day and this guy messaged me, right? He wasn't asking for beats, but he wanted me to repost his music. And I've never met the dude, so he's a complete stranger coming out of nowhere. And I hit him back, like, why? That's all I said. And I swear, for the next half an hour, he went off on me. He went off on me, getting mad, talking about, oh, you don't really have to hear my music. I don't really care what you think, man. And you know, if you're going to give me attitude and all that. I'm like, nah, man. That's not what I'm saying. Nah, I didn't mean that in a rude way. But I'm saying from a stranger's perspective, you're coming out of nowhere. I don't get a what's up. I don't get a hi. I don't get a hey. I don't get none of that. I just get, listen to my music. Here it is. Share it with all your friends. The biggest way is to turn fans off from your music is to impose your page upon somebody who does not know who you are or has any desire to hear you. The key is to have some kind of hook, some kind of reason that people should come to you and listen to your music, you know. And after I explained it to him, you know, he was cool about it. And I checked out his page and it was still whack, but hey, you really have to think about it, like what brings other people to you? Which I kind of think brings us to step 3, which is just show love, get love. A lot of people, they get to a certain point, you know, they get a little fan base, a little following or something, a couple thousand Twitter followers or something, and they develop this ego where they feel like they can't talk to anybody, when truthfully you should never be that way. And also don't spread hate, you know, let the critics be the critics. Your job is to make art and show love and improve the world in a positive way, you know? So let them do their job. Be humble. Never burn a bridge. And I think part of that is being responsible, and part of that being who you say you are and being genuine to the people you interact with, you know, make long-lasting impression. And you want to be the one they call when they need, you know, that person for the job, whatever it is. And at the same time, take out the time to perfect your art. Be confident, but understand that you are never as good as you think you are. There's always someone who's willing to outwork you and who's more talented. But in the industry, it's not about who the most talented is. It's about who has the connections. And how do you build the connections? Step number 3. So a tip for approaching people is, since most people are only thinking about themselves, not in a selfish way, but in a self-aware way, you have to kind of play into that, you know? Nothing is more satisfying to a person, more gratifying, than a person who is genuinely interested in what they do. Just by taking the time out to talk to people and actually engage with them, instead of push your page upon people, you can learn so much and expose yourself to a world that you never knew. So I hope this opened up some minds. I'm gonna post some links at the bottom of the video for you guys, just some helpful things. I know there's a lot I didn't cover in the video. It's a lot I wanted to. So if you guys dig this stuff, you know, hit me up, post, comment, you know, let me know and I'll make more. But I just want to share some of the things that I know, because I know that it'll help somebody else out, you know. And I'm gonna drop some heat tomorrow.